So we arrive at the last video on Mum's life. She moved into Hunter's care home the day after her 97th birthday. Margaret had chosen Hunter's carefully. It was a lovely place, beautiful buildings and beautiful grounds.
Look, it's Mum, and we're in the grounds. And if I just take you for a little tour here, it's a nice place. Here we go, there's a tent being set up for I know not what. There is Hunters. Come back round here, back round there. Look, Mum, look at me. Say hello.
Hello.
She's a good girl.
That said, I actually cried the first time I went to see Mum here because she was in a dementia ward. She didn't know where she was. She was no longer able to read the paper or really watch television or have a conversation with the other people there. We tried to spend as much time as possible outside.
So this is Hunters. We'll walk round. Who's that there? We'll go and see her in a few seconds. There's a nice walk round here, and here is Mama. Say hello, Mama.
Hello.
Is it a beautiful day?
It's a gorgeous
And
day.
we've been for walks round the
All
garden.
the more perfect here because you are here.
Oh, what a very nice thing to say. Okay.
In practice, Mum spent the vast majority of her time inside with the other old ladies. A lot of time in her room, in the dining rooms, in the lounge, maybe walking the corridors. Hunter's was very well set up. Mum had fantastic care assistants who kept her clean, warm and comfortable. They were good friends as well. There was also an in-house nursing team linked to the local GP. Like a lot of the old ladies, Mum had a do not resuscitate order on her, but didn't have the equivalent in medicine. So steroids and antibiotics were continued to be prescribed all the way through her tenure there, which amounted to nearly 1,000 days. This gives me a dilemma in the planning of this video. What I don't want to do is just show you loads of photographs showing a gradual decline. Doesn't do justice. What I think I will do is talk about the major influences on her life, try and give you a flavour of the magnificent woman she was, and to look on the sunny side if you like.
Hey, hey, hey. It's a beautiful day.
It is a beautiful day.
Mum was born and brought up on a South Wales hill farm in deeply religious society, the Welsh Methodist revival. Her mother, Mum described as having a straight line to God, a very simple faith that if she did her part, God would look after her. And Mum was deeply embedded in this all the way through university, really until she met my father and came up against his implacable resistance. So she may have lost her belief, but she never lost her Christian guiding. She was a Christian woman. She was good, she was kind, she put others before herself. This Christian tradition has been maintained by Janet and her family, who are keen churchgoers and keeping the flame alive.
This is...
Who is that?
Who do you think?
Trevor.
Yes. It's Trevor when he graduated on his graduation day. Is he lovely? Not lovely. He was lovely. And there's Dad making a funny face.
Yeah.
And the last one I've got here is Mark as a young man holding a baby, and that's me, Janet. There you are. I forgot.
Mum was a very clever woman and put that brain of hers to good use. She was the first in the family to go to university. She got a first when it really counted for something. She got a master's at Aberdeen. Well, I think she would have got a PhD if she was a man. Likewise, she was made a research fellow, and I think she would have made a lecturer if she was a man. She put all this ability behind my father, helped him write his book, helped him get the chair in Swansea. She had a lot of friends who were academics, like Alan Davis next door. She was put an onus on education. All her children got degrees, all her grandchildren got degrees. Many of them got masters. Annie and Katie both got firsts, and Katie has got a PhD. And of course, Trevor was made a professor at Imperial, which brought enormous pride to Mum and Dad. And Mum was there to see Trevor make his inaugural lecture.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Dear
birthday, Trev
Trev.
the Rev.
Happy birthday to you.
He's 65 years old, Mum. Doesn't look it though, he looks about 45 if you ask me.
No,
He's a good boy, isn't he?
he's a very excellent boy.
In no way did Mum fit the stereotype of the typical introverted academic. She liked people and people liked her. She talked to everybody and anybody and got them going, as she would put it, and find out all the important things that were going on in her life. And invariably, once she found out what was going on, she'd tell them how to live the rest of their lives. And infuriatingly, she was nearly always right. One of my favourite examples of this is when we drove Daniel down to Exeter for his second year to his new flat and his new flatmates. Mum came with us and was in the new house for about 20 minutes. Then on the way back she said to me, "Daniel likes that girl." I said, "How do you know?" She said, "I can tell. And what's more, that girl likes Daniel." Preposterous. I said, "You can't possibly know." Anyway, 9 months later, a telephone call from Daniel. "Dad, I've got a girlfriend." "Ah," I said, "is it Jasmine?" "Yes," he said. "How did you know?" "Ah, well, Granny Gwen told me."
Blame my Daniel,
Blame my Daniel.
and for Selwood, and for Selwood,
I'm Beth.
am
Beth.
am iddo beidio a ddoli'r ddelw.
What do you think of Daniel getting a top job?
Well, it's the first I've heard
Well,
of
it's
it.
brilliant. He just went in there and said, "That's my job, I'll have that, please." Could I have lots of money? He's a very good boy, Mum.
No,
Yes, he is, Daniel.
Daniel.
I think in nature, I'm probably the most like Mum of all the children. And like her, I can't but help try and find out about people and then tell them how to live their lives. I'm not nearly as good at it as Mum is, but I do realise that there's a value to it because people often hear themselves talking rather than the rubbish that I'm saying. Mum's advice was particularly important, not just to me, but also to my boys. Following divorce, she was the feminine voice in the family, if you like, the one that told the boys not to worry, everything was going to be good, the future lay ahead of them.
Where do I go?
You stay here. Do you like it here?
Yes.
You do. You've got lots of friends here.
Yes.
What are you going to do now?
Right, I'm going to think.
What are you going to think about?
Thoughts that do lie too deep for tears.
Gosh, is that poetry? Who wrote that then?
What?
Who wrote that?
I don't know.
Oh, you're a good girl, Mum. You're a very good girl. Bye-bye then.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Diddle diddle dumpling.
My son John.
Good girl. Family was the most important thing to Mum, and make no mistake about it, we were brought up in a matriarchal household. Growing up, her friends were her family, not just her parents and her two sisters, but I think there was something like 24 cousins living within about 5 miles of them. And these were incredibly important to her, not least Auntie Mara, who was born just before her, and Auntie Nancy, who lived with them as a child for quite a long time and was Mum's best friend, and Mum, the only person on the planet allowed to tell Mum off. Even when we lived in Manchester, Mum had a small army of help from her nieces, Lib and Kath in particular, spring to mind. When she lived in Aberdeen and then Manchester, she stayed connected with the family via the telephone, a trunk call, and I think the only expression that Dad knew in Welsh was, "I'm so tired." A huge amount of work was done on the family tree, and if Mum engaged anybody in conversation with even the slightest Welsh accent, we would pretty soon find out that we were second or third cousins removed, so basically related to the whole of Wales. So in Swansea, she was the great matriarch of the family, holding everything together, going to see her mum to take a Sunday lunch and all sorts of things like that. And then when she moved to Cirencester, she morphed seamlessly into Granny Gwen and forged a great relationship with all of her grandchildren, nephews and nieces.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mama. Happy birthday to you.
The mantle of matriarch of the family has passed seamlessly on to Margaret. She's done the lion's share of all the work in terms of looking after mum and dad, making sure all their arrangements are in place, ferrying them to doctor's appointments, taking them to see relatives, being helped enormously in this by Megan and Siobhan, who've been really good granddaughters, I have to say. Margaret has also kept connections with the wider family, in particular Auntie Nancy's children, and we've also seen a lot of Auntie Mara as well, and the cousins from Aberystwyth and Cardiff. Auntie Nancy died 20 years too soon, but Auntie Mara just a few months before Mum, and Mum's two sisters, Mary and Celia, well, the three of them died within a very short period of each other. That's the end of an era. We won't see their like again. Margaret and Seamus were magnificent hosts that had huge family gatherings, often based around birthdays or Christmas or celebrations such as wedding anniversaries.
Oh, it's Margaret.
Yes. What a stunning bride.
Unmistakable.
Yes, absolutely. I love the headdress with the little flowers on top. She's so beautiful. Well, she still is beautiful.
What?
She still is beautiful.
Well, she is beautiful.
Yes, yes.
Mum came from a very old Welsh family, and born on a Welsh hill farm, she moved to Scotland and then England in the middle of her life. When in Manchester, she tried to teach her 4 young children Welsh, but failed miserably, so she tried a different tactic. She ensured that Dad got a job in Swansea as the new chair in psychology, which meant that her 5th baby, David, was born in Wales.
Your favourite, Mum?
Oh, David.
Oh.
Mum wasn't a strident Welsh nationalist. Her view of being Welsh was based around the land, it was based around family, it was based around chapel, industries like farming and mining. Her dad had been a miner and then emigrated abroad. And of course the language.
Mum, should David have a haircut?
No.
No? No?
No?
Yes, Mum.
Well, I'm going to listen to Mum. She said, don't listen to Margaret. That's what she said. So, yes.
It's time to say goodbye, and as we come to the end of this, the last of 7 videos, you begin to realise Mum's story, where she had an incredibly different life in each different stage, and yet all the time she remained true to herself. She was a wonderful, kind, warm, loving, highly intelligent woman who always put others first and put a smile on people's face. She was great. Her firstborn Janet was there when she passed away, which is a comfort. The funeral was a few weeks later. Went with the boys up to the factory before going to the church at Llangynoed. It was a good and moving service. My brothers did a great job with the eulogy. It was very sad for my boys to see the hearse going away, though I'd kind of said my goodbyes some time before. We then drove up over the mountains where Mum would have seen the bombing of Swansea during the war. And there was a reception at Markham with all sorts of people. John Hugh Thomas from Eton Crescent, Jeremy from Abbey Grounds, loads and loads of relatives, Catherine Anthony, Auntie Nancy's girls, Lib, Kath. It was just great. Mum and Dad were buried together, their ashes put in the grave of Mum's parents. It had always been a long-term wish of hers, so she's sleeping now in Llangynoed. Mum had a good life, and she's passed that life on to her 5 children, not just her genes, but as we've seen, the things that were really important to her.
Hello, Janet and Trevor and John and David and I've forgotten who my baby is.
Margaret.
Margaret. Oh, wait now. Well, I love you all very, very much, and I wish I could see you oftener.
At the last count, Mum had 9 grandchildren, and what a wonderful bunch they are, full of life, full of beans, intelligent, great fun to be with. Now, Mum believed that life went on from her into her children, and then from her children into her grandchildren. So that means that these grandchildren are carrying the torch for Granny Gwen. And you know what? Granny Gwen has got a message for them.
Look your last on all things lovely.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.